As a director, I work very closely with my client. So if it's a brand I'm working with, I make sure that they are in the front seat. I work in fashion and sports, so it's really important that I keep a close and honest relationship with the talent, especially if it's sensitive information or if it's personal things. It's really important to keep an honest and fluid, natural conversation going. I did. I knew I wanted to be. So after being a runner on set, I remember my first directing job, it was really not very good. It wasn't very strong. And it casted doubt on my ability. But then later I realized the reason I was underprepared was because I was simply junior. I remember at that time, oh, maybe I should be a director of photography. Being a director of photography is so close to what I do with regards to my directing. I have a very visual directing style, so the two come hand in hand. I obviously also work as a videographer, so yeah, I shoot everything. For me personally, I had a bit of a battle in my head, you know, should you be one, should you be the other? And traditionally we're taught to always choose one or the other. You're a director or you're a DOP, because doing both is, you know, considered, well, it's two different jobs, right? After a while, I quickly realized I was a strong director and actually this would be the career choice for me. I would describe my directing style to have a documentary edge to it. I believe in telling honest, true, and short stories. If you're not sure if you want to be a director or a DOP yourself, ask yourself a question. Do you want to make more money or less money? Because I'm pretty sure that directors of photography earn more money than directors. In a traditional old school sense, directing is quite hot and cold. You can win an Oscar or a BAFTA 1 week and then 5 years later you can find yourself out of work. That is a true thing that can happen very often. Now, a director of photography, however, you're pretty certain that you're going to survive. Even if the film or movie is a flop, you can keep working. Your reputation is not as damageable as it is a director. That being said, I do not work in feature films or any of that scary stuff, so I do not need to worry. What skills do you need to be a director? Well, first of all, you need to be in charge. You need to take control. You need to have confidence. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be the loudest, scariest, you know, horrible person in the room. One of the skill sets you need as a director is to be able to forecast the edit, to know that you've got the sequence you need in order to tell the story. Basically, not to fall short. And not to miss out shots and things that are going to be vital to telling the sequence or telling the story. There's not really like a science to it. I remember once asking a first AD, how do I become a director? And he goes, look, mate, you've got enough confidence, you'll be fine. So I remember thinking like, well, that's interesting. You don't necessarily need to be like trained with actors or, you know, you don't really need any skills. Generally speaking, if you can wing it, you're good. You know, if you're extremely creative and you've got a detailed eye, you'll get it. Generally, if you know you're going to do it well, then you'll do it well. For me, the most important skill as a director is really having the trust and faith from everyone, the client, the crew, the talent. Most importantly, the talent. The talent really need to feel safe, and for them, it's important that they have a seat at the table. In the beginning, I remember being very inspired by the general production, working as a runner, seeing what magic looked like. For me, that was a clear inspiration globally. I would say, however, there was no one that particularly stood out for me in terms of their directing styles, only watching the magic. This is going to sound a bit off key, but I honestly feel like I'm my biggest inspiration. And I say this, not in an arrogant sense. There are people out there who are so much better than me. I say this from a stance of the fear of FOMO. Now, do you know what I mean when you see other people really busy, really like traveling the world with it, earning serious wonga and really like busy. Now, I'm sure those people are better than me because they are, you know, infinitely better, but I do not want to engage with that. So I deliberately don't follow people that I know are excellent. I deliberately stay away from my best competition because I get that fear, you know, the fear of missing out, that FOMO feeling. It's very real. In this game, we always, no matter how gangster you always are comparing yourself slightly to other people. Now, obviously, I'm pretty sure I could figure that one out myself. For that reason, I try really hard to not engage with other people that I know are better than me.